Hi, I'm Crystal Mercer McClellan, writer, blogger, and winner of the 2017 National Novel Writing Month. Now that November is coming to a close, a lot of people out there probably have a really crummy manuscript that they've been working really hard on for the past 29 days now. So who I have with me right now is my friend Jessica Federle. She is editor-in-chief and co-owner of Red Pen Bristol editing and proofreading services, and she has over a decade of experience in editing academic and creative works. So what Jessica has for us today are 3 tips for self-editing your novel manuscript. So without further ado, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, thank you for having me. So my first tip for self-editing your own work is to be aware of the fact that sometimes during the day and just during your life, you think better and more effectively than you do at other times. And for academic writing, we kind of teach folks to do this by thinking of it in terms of A, B, and C quality thinking. So for your A-level thinking, that's when you're going to be most alert, you're most ready to hold this whole book in your head, and you're most able to kind of do the details that need to be pulled through from the beginning all the way to the end. B-level thinking is when you're maybe a little groggy, maybe you didn't have a great night's sleep, but you can still kind of work on specific sections in your chapter. And C-level thinking is bottom of the barrel thinking. You're exhausted, you're running on coffee, and maybe you have just enough time to kind of go through and tweak some spelling errors or deal with some of your punctuation issues. The most important thing in kind of being aware of the 3 levels of thinking is not to waste your A-level periods doing C-level work, because that's what's going to push your final deadline or your final goal farther and farther away as you kind of waste that time. My second tip has to do with pulling your threads all the way through your book effectively. And this kind of relates to A-level thinking because when you're at your A-level, you're best able to hold sort of what is really a massive body of work in your head at once. That takes high-level brain power. When you think about it in terms of dissertations, you're dealing with maybe around 50,000 words. That's essentially a PhD doctorate. You're holding a lot in your head at once. When you have your threads clear, and by threads, I essentially mean subplots, character quirks, little Easter eggs that you're dropping in for your reader before they get to the end and the grand reveal. You need to have a clear mind, and you need to really have a list of these threads that's always kind of readily available for you to consult as you're going through and cleaning up your work for the final draft. And then my third tip is pretty simple. It just has to do with serif and sans serif fonts. When you're editing, you have a big tendency, when you're editing your own work especially, to skim things. So you'll go through a paragraph and you've already read this paragraph, you wrote it yourself, you've already read it 5 or 6 times. Inevitably, your brain is going to kind of skim over sentences. It's just going to fill in what it knows is already there. One way to kind of trick your brain, or to defeat this issue, is actually to just switch from a serif font to a sans serif font, or vice versa. A serif font has those little flags on the end of each letter, like Times New Roman. A sans serif font is like Arial. It's very block looking. Those are my tips.
Wow, thank you, Jessica. Those are excellent tips, and to tell you the truth, I've never actually heard any of them before until you communicated them to me for the first time. So thanks very much for watching, folks. For those of you who have won the 2017 NaNoWriMo, If you met your 50K goal, congratulations. And remember to keep these 3 tips in mind as you move forward to self-edit your novel. Know your ABC level of thinking, keep those various threads in mind, and also remember the brain tricks. Change the font. Thanks very much, guys.